All right, welcome back. Welcome back to Who Can You Trust? The game, the vinyl community game, right? Wait for everyone to join in the chat here. Let's see what. Welcome, Chris Hill. Rest in peace, Sly Stone. That is correct. Rest in peace, my brother. You know, one of the best. Chris, I will do a Sunday stream. We'll play some of Sly's songs, solo songs with the band, some of his favorite songs. We'll even do the tribute to Mr. Billy Jones, who was the proprietor and owner of Billy's Record Salon. We'll be playing his favorites Sunday, so that'll be fun. Welcome, Tom. Chris needs to keep his eyes as wide open as in the thumbnail for the entire show, or I call bullshit. Chris, how do you answer this?
Well, that thumbnail was taken when I was under the influence, so it was different circumstances.
Is this pre-fish or post-fish?
Might have been mid-fish.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Welcome, Record Keeper. All right. Wyoming Dave. Wyoming Dave, we're going to give you that wrench. I'm going to give you that wrench. Okay, Wyoming Dave. So we're going to give Mr. Tom a wrench as well. So if someone be trolling, you know what to do. Welcome,
Maybe we should consider a wrenching ceremony in the future, like a knighting.
Is that what you want to do? Like, this would be taking the who can you trust to who do you trust, right?
Yes.
You got to cue some Prince music up, man.
That's right.
Vinyl Social Club knighthood, right? Is that what you're saying?
Wow.
Welcome, Andy G. Welcome, Vinyl Kicks 86.
PK 86.
That's right. John Bong is the only person I trust. Well, you're lucky, Record Keeper. John Bong stayed with me for 2 or 3 days during the Austin record show. Quick story, we got time for this. When you come over the Rojas residence, right, I have a DJ set up. We can compare records. And one of the records he asked Record Keeper was he wanted to listen and compare the Eagles Hotel California. I shit you not. Okay. He requested that one. And Nathaniel Mars, the Wolfman, was also staying with me. Nate Mars said, hell no. If you play that record, I am leaving. I'm getting out of here. Crazy enough, we did listen to it all together. Nate Mars went into the other room to block his ears of, Don Henley. There's no need for Don, But turns out the MoFi was actually better than the original. And Jose now knows. Welcome, Chase. Welcome, Vinyl Vertigo. Yes, Mr. Wyoming Dave. Let's see here. Do you trust a music man from Norway? Of course we do. Of course we do. Yes, of course. Well, we'll get you hooked up here. Done.
I've been watching some of Ivan's streams when I catch them. Good times.
More disco. We did do some disco Sunday. Another friend said he wished I could play more boogie and disco, so we will do it. Welcome, Sean. Anyone can be forgiven for falling asleep during a Fish show that's directed at the Groove Seeker. How do you respond to that?
They're just not doing it right if they fall asleep. They have to make better choices.
You mean song choices, right?
Yes, song choices, yes.
Wait, let me ask this. How many Fish concerts have you attended or been to?
Oh, man, I don't know. Well over 50.
Wow.
Yeah.
50.
Yeah, but it's not a lot.
That is a lot. What are you talking about?
It's not.
I've seen like Sunvolt and Wilco probably like 10 times, like combined together, like during 1994. I don't know if you knew that, Joel. Like Uncle Tupelo broke up. Like I wanted to see them, they broke up. So then I found out, they formed two bands, Sunvolt, Wilco. So I thought that would be the next best thing. And in 94, 95, like Sunvolt just ruled. They just beat Wilco all the time. It was crazy, And I got to meet all of them and talk with them. It's super cool dudes. Groove Seeker didn't know that. Like, it was the early years, But I'm pretty sure I was like a dorky, alt country fan back then. Welcome, Psychic Derek. Welcome, Jenny. Welcome, Art. All right.
I got a totally different vibe going on because the band I've seen the most is Skinny Puppy, and it's probably somewhere in the realm of like 16 times. And second, it's a little closer to y'all is Ani DeFranco. I've seen her probably 10 times.
Yeah, that's a lot though. Like 16 for Skinny Puppy is like 100 Fish shows, because you got to realize you don't, like one time I saw him 7 times in 9 nights. Like you just, if they're there, you just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just in hopes you actually catch one good show out of the 7. That's the whole plan.
So, Jill, Skinny Puppy, did you see them in all eras, different eras, right?
Unfortunately, all the times I saw them were post Doomsday. So every tour they've done after Doomsday, which is when they got back together, I've seen them every Texas show they've played.
Really?
And all the Ogre shows as well. Unfortunately, I did not see them prior to Doomsday.
All right, so you're only seeing them when they come to your area, right?
Yeah.
So they're playing one show?
No, they usually, every time they've come, they played at least 3 of the Texas cities. Okay. So I've seen them in Houston, San Antonio, Dallas, and Austin.
Okay, that's fair.
Interesting.
I would travel. I have traveled to see Ani DeFranco, but I've not had to travel to see Skinny Puppy. Otherwise, I would have. And yes, High Rent District. Ani DeFranco is amazing.
I've seen Dylan 20 times, but I haven't seen him since like 2009. I've seen Wilco probably 20 times.
I had tickets to see Bob Dylan in New York when Ani DeFranco was opening for him. This was forever ago, and I couldn't. I was young, and I couldn't find the venue, so I ended up missing the show. This was before the internet, so I didn't have Google Maps. I didn't know the city very well.
Was it the Beacon?
I don't even remember anymore. But I think they only played together in New York once. But it would have been probably in the mid '90s, if I had to guess.
Wow.
But yeah, so I ended up missing the show.
Welcome, Piper.
Anyone who got to see Skinny Puppy pre-Doomsday, like Vinyl Dreamscape's mentioning, seeing them around Rabies, that would have been the dream. But I was a tad young at the time.
Different lineup now, or just different band? Like, what's the...
No, Dwayne passed away. And when Dwayne passed away, they did they released the Process, and then they kind of, I say they broke up. They just decided like they weren't going to continue. And then they got talked. My understanding of the way it went is they got talked into playing one show called Doomsday. That's why I'm calling it pre and post Doomsday. And after that, I guess they liked it, and they're like, hey, let's see what we can do after this. And then that's when they kind of got back together.
Okay.
But it's the same guys. They have some live members now, but it's the group is still Kevin Key and Ogre.
Jealous of DJ Vinyl Vertigo. Saw Chuck Prophet at least 10 times. I would like to see him.
Whoa.
For some reason, I've always missed him. I don't know why.
And hold up here. Like, he's seen Shaka Khan with and without Rufus. That's pretty amazing.
25 times, jeez.
Vinyl Vertigo, which one was your favorite, with or without Rufus? Let us know in the comments. I've seen Elvis Costello twice, I think. With not the attractions,
the imposters,
right? And that was really good. And then I saw him when he was doing the duet with Alan Toussaint, right?
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it was really boring. He made me fall asleep. I had to leave.
Oh,
Like my friend was saying,
man.
like, you're about to pass out here. You better go. You know.
Oh,
Jenny here says she's seen Guar 6 times. That's amazing. Now that. Did you get any vomit on you? That'll be the question.
Blood and guts.
That's right. That's right.
I wish I would have gone to more shows when I was younger. I did not go to any arena shows when I was in my teens and 20s. I just was kind of allergic to them. I wish I would have. I didn't get to see no Pink Floyd for me. That's a big regret.
I was a heavy show goer up until like 5 or 6 years ago. I've slowed down a lot, more selective now.
Oh yeah, in my upper 20s and 30s, I was going to like hundreds of shows, but always smaller shows. You know, like I didn't really go like I'm a big Pearl Jam fan. Only seen them one time. Name any arena band, anyone that played like big events. Luckily I saw Tom Petty before he passed away. But like I can count on my 2 hands the number of big arena shows that I've seen, and they've all been in the last 10 years. Everything before that was small clubs.
Makes sense.
I don't know why you're saying it makes sense. It makes no sense. It's a big regret. If I could go back in time, I would have fixed that shit and gone on.
It makes sense to me because you just you've always stated kind of trying to be on the up and coming. So I see why you gravitated towards like the smaller club shows. That's why it makes sense to me. Being in New York, it was kind of cool because you had like the Garden, but then you had 3 or 4 decent sized clubs that would draw pretty big acts. So you saw a lot of intimate shows, you know, with a few thousand people at most.
Yeah.
Sometimes a few hundred depending on the venue. So that was kind of sweet.
Never got to see Prince. That's a big regret. I've been a Prince fan since I was a kid, so that's
probably the best concert I've ever seen is Prince. I saw him in like 2009 or 10.
James Brown.
I know, man. Now here's the story about that. I had planned to go see James Brown when I was living in San Diego. My father at the time said we should do this family thing, so I did the family thing, you know. And then a few days later, James Brown died.
The only time I saw James Brown was he came out at a Dave Matthews show at the Garden, and they did like a 10-minute version of Sex Machine, which was pretty electric. This is going back like 25 years, though.
I mean, Lavelle, Vinyl Vertigo, they've seen Prince. Man, you guys are so lucky. Man, I messed up. Shit. My only Prince stories, right? During the VIP tour of Paisley Park, right? This is post his death. I paid extra money for VIP. So one of the things is we got to have a picture with Prince's guitar, you know, not strapped it, you know, it was in front of me. But I think I've told this story on Surface Noise when the photographer, you know, the tour guy was taking my picture. I said, you know, hey, I think someone's calling for you. And he looked back. You're not supposed to touch the guitar. And I touched it. And I felt like Prince, like his vibe was, you know. And then he looked back at me like it was something like he thought I saw me gripping the guitar. But nah, you know, he missed it, you know.
Damn.
Close to the purple one. So they take away your phone. I don't know if you knew that. When you do the tour, you can't take any pictures.
I'm sure.
Man, okay.
Someone in chat asked about our first concert. So have we talked about that? I want to say we did like 4 streams back, but I could be wrong. I haven't mentioned Pearl Charles. I don't know if the other guys know who she is, but I'm a big fan of hers. I got to see her when it was at South by Southwest right before her first album. She's fun.
What kind of music is it?
It's like I would call. I mean, it kind of is in the realm of country, but it's kind of new school. Maybe a little folky. Maybe I'd call it. I'm not good with genres, but it's in that realm.
Wow, Jenny saw Shauna. Nah, that might have been a great show. What the hell? Like,
Wow.
man, Prince. Sean, right? Look at this. What the hell? Man. All right, the topic at hand. Why did we choose Who Can You Trust? So this dawned on me Thursday or Friday night. I was reading up on the upcoming shootouts, specifically the Miles Davis Bitches Brew, which I did, it's over 20 minutes. So you don't have to watch all of it. That's probably the biggest review I've ever done, the longest review. Like 20 minutes, Pharaoh's Dance, side one off Miles Davis Bitches Brew. Like overkill, like honestly. And I was looking at Discogs reviews, right? And then I didn't check out the YouTube videos until later. Like I wanted to see what people, if they were praising it or they liked it. And it brought up this question, like who can you trust? Can you trust reviews from Discogs? Can you trust reviews from the Steve Hoffman forums, right? Or can you trust reviews from YouTube, right? So anybody from the vinyl community, right? So that's how it dawned on me, Put us on target, Groove Seeker. Let us go through this.
Yeah, this is a really interesting topic to raise because I've said this before, not because we do a show together, but the only value I get from shootouts is when I hear the music, and there's really only one or two videos that I've seen or channels that actually do that. So we go through all these sources, we get all these opinions, and it's been for me historically out of curiosity and kind of geeking out on this stuff that when you read these reviews, I'm not really sure what you're supposed to get out of them and what you're supposed to take from it. And it is a matter of, do I trust the whole forum idea as a way to extract information? And there's a specific time that I do trust the forums, which we'll get into. But oftentimes it's become more entertainment for me to go read the reviews on pressings and the reviews on music. And I just tend to leverage this stuff in a much different way than I think most people do that I've spoken to in the VC, and friends outside of the VC that also look at this stuff. So what do you trust, Rojas? Do you trust anything? Do you have an authority, an outlet that you go to and you say like, all right, I'm directionally speaking, I prefer to go to this source of information to give me some insight?
If I don't have the record, I will look it up on Discogs, but on Discogs, nobody lists their equipment that they're using, right? So then I go on the Hoffman forums. And now when you go to the Hoffman forums, if you've never been there, right, it's a little uppity, right? It's audiophiles. We're dealing with audiophiles, right? They only listen to the sound of their system. They're not listening to the sound of the music or the record, right? And for some of the Hoffman forums, it's a bit audiophile biased. What do I mean by that? So everything sounds good. Like, it's crazy, They'll just say positive things, and if you try to knock them about the sound, they're going to question your gear. They're going to use the same excuses, like, you didn't set your VTA. Like, can you imagine saying that to a young person who's into music, getting the records, and they're like, it has, it's a little bit, sibilant, or, too many S's or too sharp or something. And they're like, you didn't set your VTA. Like, you don't need audiophile Goldilocks to tell you didn't set your VTA. That's messed up, right? So I would go Discogs, Hoffman, and maybe Fremer. Oh, jeez. The Joker man himself, Yes, I think in that order, I think you've asked in the outline here, like individual people. It all depends, but in reality, like I really just trust my ear if I have the record. I think that's the point of why I do the shootouts. Joel doesn't like my shootouts, but I do that because Joel, like, I wish, again, I've said this before, like, I wish 20 years ago somebody was making those videos, you know? It would have helped me, like, saved a lot of money, you know? All right, now we'll go back to Chris here. Where do you go? Where do you start?
I
Hold
go.
up. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. Ask me.
No. Joel asked this before. Like, are we talking about the sound, or are we talking about the price? Right. I think we're talking about both. Okay.
Yeah,
go ahead, Chris.
We're talking about everything. So when I go to the forums and take them seriously is after I listen to the pressing, and if I think it sounds like shit, then I go look for confirmation that I'm not off. That's really my number one thing, where I'm like, something's not right about the sound here. Something seems weird about the way, I don't remember the record sounding like this. I don't remember the album sounding like this. I usually go there for confirmation. I do enjoy going to the Hoffman forums because in the discussion of that audiophile rhetoric, you do get gems about the history of the music. Sometimes you do get people kind of throwing tidbits in about the artist or the pressing or the label, right? The history of the band. So I go in there to kind of geek out, even though it doesn't really set me in my ways on what I'm going to do. It's more of like confirmation of how I might feel. But I'm really there for chuckles. And I'm not knocking anybody on those forums, because I think we're all nerds in this in different ways. I just find it really entertaining how deep people go. Like, to your point, Jason, about people critiquing equipment. You don't have the right VTA set. You don't have the right speakers. Your equipment is mismatched. Have you equalized the levels in your AB? Like, all this nonsense. Like, I'm not down on anybody saying that. I just find that to be like a really deep rabbit hole. I'm more interested in, are you enjoying the music? What did you learn about the music that's different? What's your relationship to this album? And like, that's where I'm trying to extract from the discussion points. Again, with the exception where I think something sounds like crap, then I'm like, all right, let me see if other people are really feeling this way. But oftentimes on the Discogs thing, my record sounds great, it's quiet, it's flat. It's like, well, it's supposed to be that way, so why are you bringing that up? Like, how is that supposed to help me on my journey or what I'm trying to get out of this? I did crack up because I go to Fremer a lot, and I went to Fremer a lot back in the day. I actually wish he posted more about his opinions on music and his opinions on pressings, because even though he seems to lean towards the modern reissue, I do like his critique and his perspective. He said something really interesting on the Westman stream the other day, where he's like, just remember something. If you're getting these reissues and you don't like the master's equipment, like the sound engineer's equipment, you're not going to like the sound of the record. So just keep that in mind. You're hearing that in reverse. And I thought that was really insightful, because not a lot of people explain that when they're going through this stuff. So yeah, go back to Fremer. I talk to you guys. I like to hear what you guys have to say in conversation about this stuff, not just, typing away in a forum and being contentious on somebody's argument. But what did you experience? How does it compare to what you've heard? Love when you post your shootouts. That's good for me, because I can actually pick it up and experience it. And I think that's got a whole level of understanding that you don't get through somebody's commentary. Quick tangent about VTA. The gentleman I use that services my turntable, he was VC audiophile before VC audiophile even existed. He's been a Lynn and a Riga dealer since like the 70s. Like, he is an authority. Scottish guy, great dude. And I get my turntable fixed. He's putting a new cartridge on for me like a year and a half ago. And he just come back from Expona, him and his wife. And I'm not going to try to do his accent, but his delivery was amazing. He's like, have you heard of this VTA bullshit? And I go, yeah, vertical tracking angle. He goes,
no, you were like GTA 6, right?
GTA. I'm like, yeah, vertical tracking angle. He goes, if you ever see anything or anybody starts talking about it, you just walk away from them. It means nothing. It means nothing. And he starts freaking out. And this is a guy who humbly has a, $35,000 Lin that he's had over time and built up, and he's got, Riga full top of the line Riga set up in his shop. He takes you to the what he calls the nut room, which is the expensive speaker room. He goes, "You're never going to buy these, but you should just hear them because they're fun." He goes, "But don't ever buy these. This is what he's kind of a grounded audiophile salesman, I guess." So I just thought when you brought up VTA, that was a hoot, because this guy I would trust with any audio advice, and he's like, "This is all bullshit." So,
all right, Joel, what sources do you? Are we just talking bullshit? Are we talking bullshit right now?
No, but it's nice because usually, Groove Seeker, you're like, to kind of echo what Joel says. Here, I'm going to echo what Groove Seeker said, because to me, my number one trust is my own ear. My second trust is my friends and the people in my community, the people that I know and trust. Obviously, if you know me, you know that I don't spend any time on the Steve Hoffman forums or watching Primer videos or any of that stuff. I have looked in the Discogs comments. I don't look at the comments for the purposes of getting an idea of what the quality is, but sometimes I just look at them for the fun of it. Obviously, I would say, if you see a comment and it's just one comment with no, what is it, like thumbs up or whatever the equivalent is of people echoing the comments or people, I wouldn't really trust it, but I have seen things there. But I wouldn't trust them. I would not buy something just because someone on Discogs says it was bad. But yeah, that's my gist here, is I trust my own ears first, my friends second. And if I want to buy something or listen to something, I'm going to, regardless of, what anybody else said. And sometimes I'll agree with you and I'm still going to buy it. You know what I mean? Like we were talking about Skinny Puppy before. I agree that the Skinny Puppy reissues aren't great. But the originals weren't that great either. So, it is what it is. That's what we have. Would I like a label to put more care and love into it? Absolutely. But if they're not going to, and I want it on vinyl, then I'm going to get it, And you telling me it's not the greatest quality doesn't really do me or anybody else any good.
I agree with you, Joel, and I've said this to Jason in a lot of our offline conversations. It sucks when I hear one of his shootouts and he plays the OG versus the reissue, and I can hear that the reissues in a lot of cases have upside. But I still buy the reissue because it's accessible, it's affordable, it's reliable. It should be reliable most of the times from a quality control standpoint. Flat, no issues. Where if I'm buying an OG, I'm gonna have to pony up a lot of cases for a clean copy and all that stuff. And I value like the shootouts in those forums, just like I said, like just for the entertainment value or like the knowledge or the interest, but it's not going to stop me from buying a record.
Yeah.
Right. I agree with you on that. Like, I know the reissue is not as good, but that's what I can afford and that's what I can get right now.
Yeah. And Vinyl Kicks said Skinny Puppy sounds better on CD. I mean, I don't know about better, but honestly, if you have the CDs, they're great. You don't need the vinyl. I just want the vinyl. I want the vinyl. I want the vinyl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Skinny Puppy is great. You notice how this is the only record I have that's arm's length away. Why? Because it's one of the greatest albums ever made, and I want it always at arm's length, always.
I thought you pulled that out of your sleeve. I didn't realize you had it next to you.
That was magician level right there. Let's catch up with the chat here. The Freight here, I'm guilty of this. I have a small channel. Freight man, no. You're not guilty of anything. You made a video about Bitches Brew. This is what is needed, right? So you are contributing to the vinyl community. That's what matters the most.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, don't let my snobbiness make you feel attacked just because I prefer audio in the shootout. I still watch plenty of shootouts that don't have audio.
And just for the record, I like the shootouts. You said I didn't like the shootouts. I like the shootouts. I think they're great. And entertainment. You know what I mean? And trust me, if sound quality, if I wanted to eke out the 5% better sound quality or whatever you want to, then I would go out and seek it. But I'm not spending $300 or $400 on a record. Anyway, the vinyl dreamscape, Shootout Park. Well, the reissue is easy to find on vinyl. You can find it right on my website. Plug but if you want an OG is hard to find.
Yes, put your website in the chat, Joel.
Yeah, come on,
Vinyl
Joel.
Kicks here. I trust my system the most. Again, if digital, I trust online vinyl rips are very enjoyable. Let's see here. I'm missing. You're all talking about Ben Harper, really?
Mm-hmm.
I went to see
Ben Harper's great. Whatever happened to him? Is he still doing stuff?
Yeah,
I think
making records.
He's actually in the upcoming Jeff Buckley documentary. I didn't know he knew Jeff Buckley, but he's in it. Music in the House. Welcome, John. If you read enough what's out there, you can you watch enough reviews, you can find kindred spirits who either challenge your preconceived ideas in a good way or walk alongside of them. See, that's healthy rather than, hate you don't know what you're talking about, check your VTA.
Did you give us the measurements on what the output was? That's how we'll know if it sounds good.
That's right.
I don't trust people. I don't trust people who a substantial amount of their record collection are because the music sounds good rather than liking the music. That's a red flag for me. You could have albums that are cool to have because they sound good that maybe you don't love the music, but when it's like 25% of what you have, like, I already know I can't talk to you about what I want to hear. Like, I'm good. Do your thing. That's good for you. That's not good for me. Why are you buying a record just because it sounds good?
So this happens a lot, though, I think, in the vinyl community. You know what I mean? A lot of people like to rip on the same stuff, and a lot of people like to praise the same stuff. You know what I mean? Like the person here says, you like to Google the best pressing of said record. Yeah, more power to you.
It's interesting, though. Again, doing that. Hoffman's a great forum for history of music and pressing. That's true. I mean, that actually is one of the best things to have that kind
I don't know.
of
I'll say this. Like, I consider myself an outsider to the VC and an outsider to being an audiophile because I'm not one. But the stuff that went down with MoFi kind of opened my eyes to some things, like I always thought my impression of MoFi was always like it was the greatest, right? Like, I mean, I didn't buy into it, but I'm just saying, like, the general vibe that I got was like, if it was MoFi, it was great. And then when the whole thing came down with the digital stuff, then all of a sudden everyone turned on it. It was like MoFi shit. But then people started finding some middle ground, and some people were like, okay, yeah, it's a digital step, but it still sounds great. And my overall impression of the whole thing after all was said and done and it settled down was like, everybody is full of shit. And if you like a record, buy the record. If you don't, then don't. Who the fuck cares whether it has a digital step or not? Just listen to it, and it's probably good enough. You know what I mean?
I think that is spot on, actually, because there's like this I don't know what you call it, but it's like, oh, I have to justify that it has a digital step, and I can't like that because that's not true audiophile. It's like, does the record sound good? Do you like the music? Then who gives a shit?
Do you see Tom's comment right here? The biggest trick the devil pulled on humankind was suggesting that we should compare the symbol decay on different pressings, and then he's saying the devil's name is Chad from Acoustic Productions. Wow.
See, I defend Chad because people have his opinions, especially over the past couple of years of his approach. But I think we all could agree that if we could own a record label and put out whatever the hell we wanted, then a lot of people would have a lot of problems with us too. Like, he's just putting out his favorite records.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also don't want my my Atlantic 75 series to come defective because he found that I'm saying bad things about him.
On the stream.
I buy a lot of their stuff. I don't care. I know when Jason pulls out, the 1967, UK pressing of whatever record and plays against Chaz, it's going to blow it out of the water. But it's like, I'm not going to buy that 1967 UK first in near mint condition.
I mean, I don't have all near mint records. Question for the Groove Seeker here. What turntable do you have?
I have a Riga P8 with an Afeta 3 cartridge.
Did you check?
You didn't ask me, but I have two Techniques 1200s. I have a oh geez, I have a more audiophile one, but I unhooked it and it's sitting in a box.
Don't you have a Marantz? I thought you had a Marantz too.
Oh no, the picture that I took on social media, that was my buddy.
Oh, that's
cool. I went over to my buddy's house. He has a Marantz, and he was playing this album, which by the way was amazing. This group called Antarctica. They only released one album and one EP. Amazing sounding album. But yeah, that's his Marantz.
Nice. What was
mine
the other?
Mine was a Fluence. I had like one of the higher end Fluence ones, not like super expensive or anything. But I ditched it for the Techniques.
Nice.
All right, John Bandy, welcome. In my opinion, it always goes back to what a person's foundational knowledge is on sound quality parameters, more so objective, defined terms. Then it can get into subjective. You like more bass, that is taste.
Yeah, kind of like which is the better sounding made in Japan. And we all know I'm right on that one.
Shots fired, John Bandy. Groove Seeker doesn't have a turntable. He has a vibration measuring machine. But foundation off, can't trust. Completely dismiss visual evidence, then can't trust. And, well, that's like buying records off Discogs. Welcome, John Bong here. I mean, Jose Moreno Ron.
Oops.
Look at this guy.
Vinyl Dreamscape is my kind of guy right here. Although in Texas, we're being attacked right now.
What?
Vinyl Dreamscape. I mean, you'll get there eventually. You got to keep going.
John Bandy here. People claim to hear a lot of things. Then when the actual visual evidence says otherwise. But I mean, again, like, right, John, like if you have a frequency spectrum, graph, right? And it has more treble, but you can't hear the treble. Well, damn. I mean, what do you say beyond that? Like, that's crazy.
Jason, what about the difference in human hearing ability, right? Everybody hears things differently. Everybody's room is differently. Everybody likes different. Some people like bright speakers. Some people like deep, bassy speakers. Some like bookshelves versus towers. Some people listen to music in Apple AirPods and think that's like the greatest thing. Like, there's so many factors that go into this, and every step in the line just muddies the waters.
What's the question?
So the question is, what sorry, what are your thoughts on all of that? Like, who's using this preamp? Like, I could put my turntable next to somebody else's, same exact turntable. We both could have different preamps, completely different sound comes out of it. It's like,
not to mention. Oh, go.
No, go, Joel. Joel, take it.
So I went and hung out with a friend of mine in Dallas a couple weekends back, and he has a, like, I don't know a ton about it, but like a Blu-ray audio thing with he had like the Dolby Atmos versus surround, like 4K sound, or I don't know, whatever it's called, like whatever the high-end audio of that stuff is. And he was playing me albums. Sounds completely different than, these are albums I know, it sounds completely different than the regular CD or the vinyl. And that's what he likes. To me, it took me out of my, I was like, the whole time I'm listening to the album, I'm thinking to myself, like, this sounds crazy. like, because it sounds completely different than I'm used to, and that's kind of the point, right? Like, yeah. I don't know.
No, it
In
is,
my
and
head, it makes sense.
it could be it could be distracting too for you as
Yeah,
a listener.
that's exactly what I would call it. It was distracting. It sounded really cool, but you're never going to get that sound out of a record. You know?
Yeah.
Jose Moreno Ron here. I don't trust in general.
And it was also the fact that, like, those of us that have been going to shows and been in clubs for decades, like my wife likes to tell me, you know, I'm going deaf, so.
And this is just a fact of life.
Yeah.
But when you're older, you got to turn the bass up. It's science. It's science.
We're sorry, just catching up on the comments here. To be clear, the Rega guy slammed VTA, and VTA is not adjustable on Riga turntable. Correct.
Well, he's not just a Riga guy. He's a Lin dealer, deals Audio Technics. He deals all of it. But that's like, you know, I use a Riga, so we're talking about Rigas.
Look at this. I trust VC Snobs' opinions.
That's because you are VC Snob Vinyl and Kicks.
I mean, I will say that at no point do I see someone in the VC or elsewhere showing me their high-end audio and me thinking, like, I got to get that, you know? Like when I saw Mike from the In-Groove, his all that expensive stuff he has, I'm like, it's not for me.
So I was telling Jason this the other day. My table gets extremely fatiguing. It's fatiguing to listen to it for too much. Like if I go 4 or 5 albums in a row, I'm like, I need a break, and I'll go back to my older turntable, just because it's sometimes too much. So I agree with you on that. Like, I don't have envy, like, because you're technically you could always upgrade. You're always going to want somebody else's equipment. Dave, the pickup artist coming through.
I know.
Where did this conversation about INXS come from?
Oh, Jose hates pop music. Jose, if it's popular, we're not allowed to talk about it if Jose's here. I mean, John Bong. I mean, Jose.
Let's
get to the next topic. I'm not finished with all the comments.
Like, I gotta maintain some control over this.
We kind of blended a bunch of this. What do you think is missing from these reviews that would be important to you?
Maybe their recent what do you call it? Hearing test, scores from the hearing test,
I mean, I'll be honest with you. So I know a lot of people like to talk about quality control, right? So as a store, what I've noticed after ordering thousands and thousands of records, whenever there's a quality issue, I generally see it with the not with the record itself, but with the cover. I usually notice it across all of the copies. But with the record itself, I think it's more hit and miss. So if I see someone say online that a specific record doesn't sound good, like it has a sound issue, I don't automatically think that every pressing or not every pressing, but every copy of the record in that pressing is automatically not going to sound good. But when I've seen quality issues with the cover, like if you have a cover that's prone to seam splitting, or whatever the case may be, that's usually going to be across the entire pressing, if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense to me. I'm notorious for returning and getting replacement copies, and if there's a sound issue or whatever, I do find that I've gotten replacements that are fine, and the problem isn't replicated.
Yeah.
Now there are rare cases, or not so rare anymore, where it's like there is a pressing issue with like the whole run on a couple of recent titles even. So I'm in agreement with that. But the cover issues are a little bit more consistent across the whole batch for sure.
Yeah.
What's also missing for me is people should do their thing, and this is just a want of mine. It's not an ultimatum for me not to watch the video, but I don't know. I'm kind of tired of people saying like this was just announced and it's coming out like, you know, June 27th. It's like, yeah, I got the email too. So like, tell me your thoughts on the record. Like, what does the record mean to you? Why are you making a video on it? Like, why do you feel the need to come out and say it?
That's an infomercial. That's not a
I don't want the infomercial. I want the like, you could do the infomercial, but I think what pains me more about this is I know a lot of people that are making these videos, they know a lot more about the music than they're talking about, and they feel a certain way about the music more than they talk about. So like, do the infomercial, and you know, this is coming out whenever. Let me tell you about my experience with the record. Let me tell you what pressings I already have. Let me tell you about why I like this band, why I don't like this band, why I think this should have been issued, why it shouldn't have been reissued. I just feel like I used to see that a lot more, and I gravitate towards the people that take time to go into to what the music means to them, because that's what I really ultimately care about. Like, to Joel,
Can you give me an example?
What's up?
Can I give an example?
Like, are you talking about people that are selling records that are making videos?
No,
or just like
no, that I'm okay with. Like, you have a record store, you do an infomercial, like, that's fine. I'm talking more of like people creating content just to regurgitate like that this got announced, just to be
okay, so they're just trying to get clicks and views to generate money.
That's fine. Like that again. Like I'm not coming across like they shouldn't do that. Like, that's what they can do. I'm saying, for me as a consumer of the information, I wish they would just take it a step further. Like, spend an extra couple of minutes on what the music means to you. Give me your take on the history of the music, because that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to pull out those nuggets.
Personal experience. That's what you're looking for.
I'm looking for personal.
I think you may be touching on a different phenomenon going on in the content creation game.
Yes.
Where there's like there's, you know, and I'm not in content creation, but I watch enough to kind of get the gist of what's going on. Like, they need to churn out a bunch of like 5-minute videos to get revenue, right? They want their 5-minute videos so then they can make their shorts, so they can keep the machine rolling. And so they don't have enough time to sit there and plan out good enough content. They just need to churn out some stuff. And that's a different thing altogether.
And that's fine. That's the game. I just think I'm looking for more of that. Like, so many times stuff gets announced, I'll message Jason, right? Hey, this is getting reissued. One of Jason's typical responses to me is like, oh, did you know this and this and this about that album?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, I did. And you know, and it's like that exchange of information is way more valuable to me than like, is MoFi going to beat the UK pressing? Like, that's secondary for me. That's like the nerd out stuff that's fun to like investigate, but I like to learn more deeper about the music. And you're right, Joel, like, people are creating content and like there's a whole universe for that, and that's fine. I'm just being selfish and saying,
I don't like it when they use clickbaity titles and they don't even follow through at all. Like, you know, like I could give some examples, but they're literally clickbaity titles, and then the video has nothing to do with the clickbait. Like, they don't deliver at all. And I'm like, what? That's why, like, I stopped watching a lot of videos, because it's like, you know, it's not even entertaining, let alone getting the information.
You know, Groove Seeker, Joel's referring to, are CDs back, or is the VC out of iTunes? Just looking, Joel. Just looking.
Or is he? Maybe he's referring to the Discogs median price is a lie. You know.
That's right.
No, because we talked about that topic. I'm not talking about your video.
I'm kidding. You know, we're kidding, Joel.
Yeah.
All right, let's get through some of these comments here. Welcome, Randy. I love that the MoFi thing fooled all the stuffy audiophiles. Just proves they don't know shit. Welcome, Pat's Radio. Don't buy better records, buy better weed. You know,
There you go.
Priorities. Sean,
This is what I was talking about when I said we're under attack here in Texas.
because
They're
a friend
trying to
with
ban
weed-
all hemp products soon.
Really, I didn't know that. Really,
Well, not only are they trying to do it, but it passed. I'm not sure what the current status is, but they want to ban all of the all hemp products, including all the whatever it is, like that weed derivative thing that's out there.
Delta 9.
Yeah, Delta 9. They're trying to ban all that stuff. I'm surprised you missed that, Jason. They did a whole press conference where the lieutenant governor or whatever, he had like this table with all these weed products out on it. And he was just like, we don't want anyone to have these things. And then he looks to a reporter and he's like, do you want this? Do you really want this? And then he just throws it at him. It was pretty funny. Anyway.
I will have to watch that later. Welcome, Audio Geek 67. My copy of Wish You Were Here made me happy till Mike the in-groove said it was shit. Again, don't let this VC influencer dictate what you should or should not listen to. If you enjoy that copy of Wish You Were Here, then that's the copy. That's for
Yes.
you.
Absolutely.
100%.
Anyway, Mike for the in-group cannot be trusted because, again, he said LA Woman was the best Doors album, which is patently a lie. So...
Well, he only said it was good because he was in the mastering session with Kevin Gray, so he's a bit biased, right? And if you read that Rhino Hi-Fi, I think they etched it, for Esposito or something, So, jeez, John Banda here, MoFi thing never upset me as far as, oh my God, it's digital. The ones that still win. The ones that do not never did.
Well, John, I agree with John what he's saying, but I think there's some revisionist history in the reviews, though.
100%.
Where there's been like this, the whole appeal of MoFi was that it was always AAA, and digital sucked. So the revisionist review is the statement that I guess digital's not so bad because it still sounds like best. Everybody kind of eat their crow a bit. DC.
Yeah, like I said, that was a real eye-opening moment regarding audiophile opinions for me. It's like where people were saying like something's the best, and then it turns out there was a digital step, and then they try to walk it back, like, oh no, wasn't really the best. I was just saying that, and then other people come out and say, no, it actually is the best, and it's just like, what? Like,
so you
what are you
can't
talking
trust
about?
them, right? They lost your trust. Right.
Well, yeah, because it's also a topic that I don't personally have a lot of knowledge of, nor any interest to investigate myself. So when people in the community that you want to trust say things, I want to just believe them. You know what I mean? And so when that whole thing comes out, it turns out like I can't believe them, and it ends up bleeding over into everybody.
It's true. Shout
Except
out to
for
the
you,
Wolfman
Jason.
here.
I always believe you. Always.
Except New York Dolls.
That's right. Except for 20 minutes of Bitches Brew.
That was great. I'm on my third watch of it. Listen, because we could get into it, but there's pros and cons of both pressings, and it seems to change throughout the song.
Correct. We're not gonna. We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Welcome,
okay,
Mr.
sorry.
Wolfman here. The counterpoint: more bass gives you more bass. So, thumbs up. Final Kicks. His 1200 Mark II will always be his preferred deck over the audiophile deck.
Yeah, but
Damn, Vinyl Kicks is going hard on us tonight.
But isn't that an audiophile deck? That's an audiophile deck to me.
All right, I'm getting to the INXS. Jose Moreno Ron. Some people actually like INXS. What is this?
John
I don't
Long
get
was
the
the
joke.
first part.
John Bandy,
INXS is one of those groups that I missed out on seeing live. I never got to see them.
Yeah, I
Kinda
missed out
sucks.
too. I loved them when I was in grade school. I loved them, and when he died, it was like a sharp pain, you know. It's like, oh man, that dude was the best. He was the front man. Like, he was a lead singer more than Bono. Like, let's be honest, you know.
Well, there's also, he's the one who introduced us to what is it, audio, the sexual thing about choking yourself.
Oh,
What's the name?
jeez.
He's the one who introduced that to us. You know what I mean? I had no idea that was a
I
thing.
can't remember what it's called. I swear.
Audio fixation or something. I forget what it is.
Audiophiliac.
Oh, there you go.
Audiophile. It's an audiophile. Choking yourself for joy.
For the trying to search for the perfect sound. John Bandy, visual evidence can be a helpful tool. I've seen so many folks who say one thing only to be absolutely in error about what EQ they're identifying. L.A. Cruz, welcome. If can't hear things, not trying to be snarky, well, I guess can't hear it, then you can't hear it, right?
I can't hear things that John Bandy can hear.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Gotcha. It's all subjective. Even Crosley red cartridges. Didn't know that they were red cartridges for Crosley, right? The cock up with the Sunday safest milk was found out. The visuals. You know what, John Bandy? That always interests me. I will seek that out and I can do the comparison. That would be fun.
What's the story behind that?
John Bandy, I think what was it, John Bandy? Did they lie about the source? They said it was analog and actually was digital, and then just never sounded good.
Sundays could have been so great. It just could have been so great.
So you can't trust them anymore. Is that what you're saying?
Don't. I'm very selective on what I enjoy by when they put stuff out.
Getting through the comments here. Hey Dave, it's all system dependence created based on our subjective perception of what's good sounding to us. Back to John Bandy here. I think the visual's best. Actually learn what you're listening for. And John Bandy left. Joel's like, I really like INXS. Lionel Kick saying INXS is a great band.
This is some real gold in the chat here, you know.
I'm getting through it. Like, I'm almost caught up. Worst album reviews are the ones that spend most of the video covering gossips about the artist. How many reviews of the latest Jason Isbell obsessed on his recent divorce? 2.3 of them. Really? So that's what his focus is on, the divorce, not the actual music.
Wait, Jason Isbell and Amanda something, right? They got a divorce?
I didn't know that.
I saw them live. They were actually they were great. I enjoyed the show. Sucks if they got a divorce.
Yeah, that does suck. Tom here, what if someone says the high end seems rolled off on the right?
He's just like, let's move on.
Seeking out Kevin Gray, Tom. Seeking him out, right? Yeah.
Is that a typo? What if someone says the high end seems Rojas off the Rhino high fidelity pressing? Is that what Tom meant to say?
That's right. Tom, I could be the one mastering them, right? And rolling off that high end, you know? Elliot, were you a fan of Lester Bang reviews? Welcome, Mark Boy. Piper here. I don't think Kevin Gray is the devil. He is doing the devil's work. I mean, he's doing great work, right?
I mean, listen, it worked. Listen, whatever they can do to get people to pay high prices for those UHQRs and all that, I mean, they got to do it, you know? Like, obviously, slapping Kevin Gray's name on it, you know, made sales happen.
Yes.
You know, and if people are enjoying it, like, what's the big thing? I would just have a problem if someone went right behind that and was complaining about the high price of records when you're paying those high prices just because Kevin Gray's name's on it.
I never look at the mastering engineer. I just assume it's one of the four. That's my assumption, though. That's what pains me too. And like all these jazz reissues and stuff that have been coming out over the past 4 or 5 years, like I already knew those records. I already knew those albums. So to me, it's like a treat, right? To get them like clean, affordable, semi-affordable sometimes. But I agree with you, Joel, that people are like, oh, well, he did it, so it's going to be the best version. This is a topic we've extrapolated to the nines like for a long time. Like,
That's why I joke about it constantly.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. You know what I mean?
I don't think I don't think it's a bad thing, but here's where I call bullshit is that the next time, like Kevin Gray's going to get to a point, and this is not an attack on any of these engineers personally. They are masters at their craft, regardless if you agree with their approach on things. But like, well, actually, I think Bernie's a better example. Like Bernie's reissuing, doing reissues that he's already reissued, and doing reissues on stuff that he originally mastered, and it sounds different. So the next time around, people are going to be like, "Oh, this is the latest and greatest because Bernie did it again." It's just not always true.
Yeah,
it's just not.
So you wouldn't trust those reviews, right? That sort of biased, because they redid it again.
Exactly. I don't trust that bias, and I don't really care who mastered it. I just don't give a damn. Is it coming out? Is it affordable? Is it a hole in my collection? Is it an upgrade to my collection from like a quality issue? And there are very few albums that I go on the press chase for. That album has to mean so much to me for me to be like, I need to get the definitive, best sounding consensus that everybody's talking about on this record. Is it the UK Vertigo? Is it the first US press? Is it the 1997 reissue? Is it the DCC reissue? Like, I'd have to really press myself on probably maybe 10 or 12 records that I would go down that rabbit hole on. Otherwise, it's like, all right, this is what I can afford. This is what sounds okay to me. I love the music. I'm not looking for that 10% incremental. It's just too much.
How often? I have a serious question for you guys. If you guys want to talk about this for a second, when you see this stuff happening, where they're reissuing a record that's been reissued a whole bunch, do you think it's just they're just issuing another pressing because it's out of print and they have to tack on some marketing stuff to it? Or do you think there's honestly something different about this pressing? Because like in the world that I come from and the music that I listen to, I know the labels, they'll press like a 500 or 1500 or whatever of an album because that's what they think they can sell. And then after however many years they sell out of it, they repress it again. And they'll call it a reissue, but they don't have to tack on a bunch of like marketing stuff to it. It's just coming back in print and they're pressing it again. Sometimes they'll do it in another color or whatever. But I see this happening where they're like repressing like Miles Davis again for like the umpteenth time. Is it just because it's out of print and they want to get it back in print?
So are you talking about like a Kind of Blue situation or like Fleetwood Mac Rumors or something like that?
Or just whatever it happens to be. Do they just feel like they need to do something? Like they can't simply repress it. It also has to be a remaster. Or, now we're pressing it on virgin vinyl or we're pressing it on whatever, and it's just their version of the marketing.
Joel.
Yes.
Joel.
What?
Somewhere, the ghost of Miles Davis, he needs a Coke bowl, needs another Rolls Royce, Okay, bad jokes aside there, right? There's money on the table there, Joel,
Yeah.
They're gonna repress this. And they're going to try to use whatever marketing they can do to make it, snazzy, right? That's my opinion of it, right? So they're going to slap that sticker and saying it was Kevin Gray, Bernie Grunman, Ryan K. Smith, 180 Graham, like for these legacy artists, it's a cash grab.
See,
Okay.
I think there's truth to that. But I also think that they're not hyping up the standard, $30 reissue you pick up at Barnes & Noble. Like they're putting some of those records back in print because they're in demand. Like people, I always joke about it. Whenever we go to the few times I've been in person with Jason, every time I see a copy of Fleetwood Mac Rumors, I'm like, oh, dude, this is a really rare record. Because like it's everywhere, but like every 8 to 12 months, like they're like, oh, a new reissue of Rumors. I think that has to do with the demand. The sliver of that we're focused on is like the hype behind like, oh well, now it's at 45 RPM, now it's done by Kevin. And I also think in a good way, and this kind of is fun for people who nerd out on this, I would think that I'm just going to pull two guys like Kevin and Bernie. I feel like if they're both doing the same record at different times, I think they want to try to outdo each other. Or if Impex is doing a Miles title and MoFi does it, the same title, I think they want to try to be the king of the reissue in that space. So I think there is some of that going on, which could be cool, but it doesn't mean that those two are the best. Right. So
I just have to say, from the outsider's perspective, it's a big turnoff. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Well,
and by the way, shout out to Seeking a Thread in the chat.
Yeah, I see him. Welcome, Dom.
Yeah,
I've been watching his videos lately when you shared them with me. Some cool stuff. I went on a major YouTube spiral.
That happened to me too when I found his channel. Definitely.
So Dom is trustworthy. You were both trying to seek a thread. Yes?
Yes.
Here's my bad joke.
Yes.
But welcome, Dom. Let me get through these comments real quick. Groove Seeker.
All right. Yeah.
Chase here. Do you guys ever intentionally buy a record from someone who doesn't have good reviews on Discogs to get that gambler's high? Gambler's high, if it actually shows up in great condition. No. It's risky. You know? They think the Soul Source. Welcome, welcome Johnny Fever. Welcome Alan. Less hype, more constructive reviews in comparison. That's true. Has Kevin Gray gotten to you, Piper? Let's keep going here. Sorry, we're a little backed up on here. I don't have that kind of money to take chances when buying records. How many VC channels are getting promo records? Well, that's the question. If they disclose it, right, then we shall know better. L8 here, I hate those commercial content creators. I like hobbyist videos. I think, don't we all, in a way?
Yes, in a way,
yeah.
Oh, here's a very good one. Let me see if I can hit it. Lavelle here, I ordered the STP MoFi to compare to my OG. Now, Lavelle, I actually got it. Before the stream, was a little late. Why? Because I had to compare this. This was like high on my agenda. Not to say Vinyl Social Club with Groove Seeker and Joel is not on the top of the list, but I had to listen to it. Now, Lavelle, real quick, if you like the high end, the treble on the original pressing, when did this record come out? Like 95, 96? Tiny Music.
I thought it was a little bit later, but I could be wrong.
Maybe 97, maybe. Probably 97, if anyone is in the chat. Well, all I can say is that on the MoFi Lavelle, the soundstage, like, people are not wrong about this review, because this is one I was like actually reading and very focused on. The soundstage is actually well done on the MoFi, but the top end has been reduced, and there will be a video on it.
1996.
Wow, 96. Man, post-Cobain. I
just don't know. You tell me what you feel about this, Jason. So I'm a Stone Temple Pilots fan, right? That's from my era. Why in the world would someone want a 45 RPM issue of that album?
Because it's been audio-filed, right? So it's the claim, MoFi is claiming, right, that they have made the best version. That's what I'm saying, right? And that's what they're striving for, right?
So here's the thing: if you're going to do a shootout, this would be my request.
Okay.
What, do you have it in original from '96 or no?
It's sitting right here, Joel.
Okay, cool. So do an original, do the music on vinyl reissue.
I don't have that.
The reissue they did in 2021 and the MoFi. Do all four of them.
I'm missing the MOV, so if somebody has the MOV, I can do it. But I have the 2021, so
okay,
I'm just missing one.
Okay, I'm hoping, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to watch that video when you do it. I'm praying that the 2021 wins.
You may be right, Joel, because hint, hint, not to just ruin it, I actually enjoyed the 2021 more than the original.
Yeah. Because, listen, vinyl in the 90s probably was not, quality was not at the top of their list.
Was that 90s press a U.S. press, Rojas, or was it?
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
it's a U.S.
It is.
press.
I've owned this record twice. I sold it back in the day, and then it was like an itch, like I had to scratch again. I was like, no, why did I sell it? That record's awesome. Like, I need to get this one back.
It says it's a DMM too.
Really?
That's what the original says. Well, in the runouts, it has DMM scratched into it.
Welcome, Tim.
The reason I hope the 2021 wins is because that's the affordable version that people can get. The OG is ridiculous amounts of money.
Well,
and the MoFi is.
The 2021 actually has the full cover. So when MoFi pressed this version, they did it like the CD, with that back cover listing the songs, right? But the 2021 actually had the whole swimming pool. And I was like, they have done this right. I was like, oh man, like this is perfect. Like this whole deluxe set was chef's kiss. They did it. Audiophile.
I wish these labels, though. I honestly wish these labels would just keep these albums in print. I wish there was no need for a MoFi reissue because I wish that you could still get the 2021 reissue. I wish they would just keep it in print.
Yeah, but maybe they did it at 45 because that's what they could get rights to.
Correct.
Well, then I think they're wasting their money. I mean, obviously people bought it, but
I bought it.
You bought it too?
I don't have an OG. I didn't get the box set. I certainly don't have the music on vinyl. I'm sure the MOV is skyrocketed, right?
I'm looking at the. Yeah, MOVs are going for over 100.
Yeah,
you're joking. You're joking. Oh my gosh.
Well, the color vinyl one is. The black vinyl is about the same price as a MoFi.
Okay. I'll see if they have it locally around town. I don't know. Man.
I think if you live in Europe, I think the music on vinyl's probably affordable.
Yeah.
It's just the prices get jacked up here in the US.
Let me finish these comments here, guys, before we move on. Decoy here saying, I want more reissues to be hyped up as analog source, but then a month after release and all the reviews revealed it was digital and watch the chaos unfold. Wow, that's Decoy. That's like the Joker move. Mark Boyd is saying Groove Seeker's a Bernie bro.
Sure. Thanks, Mark.
Hate to say it, but there are a lot of BG cuts that aren't worth rebuying a record for. This is true.
What is a BG? Oh, Bernie Grundman.
Yes, Bernie Grundman. Vinyl Kicks here. If it's getting remastered again, it has to be better. So that's what we were talking about earlier. They're claiming to be, right? So it's always attractive too, Joel, like to always talk about the next big thing, right? As a sort of a clickbait,
I will say this: the one mastering engineer that I think I really enjoy is Bellman. For some reason, like when Bellman cuts all the Neil stuff and some other select things, I think we talked about this, Jason. You're like, oh, Bellman did it. Like, okay, like I want to hear that. But the other guys, like, their signature sound doesn't move me as much.
Well, Bellman doesn't do too many interviews, and he just does his work. I think he lets the work speak for himself, I believe. That's what you get from his interview. And Groove Seeker, I would recommend that 2021 Tiny Music because he cut it.
Yeah. I knew that was going to come up.
GD, welcome. Jason is OG DJ Vibes, Fun and Respect. Welcome, GD. Vinyl Kicks again. There are always hits and misses with reissues and remasters. That's what I've learned throughout time. We are, easy now. Really?
Here we go. Let's stay on topic.
Easy now. Right. Easy now. Elliot here, I consider reissues, remaster LPs as an opportunity to pick up a good record that I couldn't afford on the used market, or a clean copy of near mint. VG plus are hard to find.
This is a big day in the Vinyl Community Social Club. I agree with you, Elliot. We have come together to be on the same page for once. Amazing moment here.
Yeah, and I wish labels would keep their stuff in print. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason to spend hundreds of dollars on an original. They should just keep it in print.
Correct. I'm surprised that the audiophile community is still allowed to use the term master for microaggressive.
Oh, man. Comment of the night.
Right, unless it's a reissue of Audio Slave. There we go. There we go, Tom. Again, welcome, Dom. Dom, let me know when you're back from tour. We want you back on the panel.
Did y'all get to see Audio Slave live?
I did.
No, I did not.
I didn't. Oh, my God. Big regret. I did get to see Soundgarden. Did not get to see Audio Slave.
Yeah, I saw Audio Slave.
I think we talked about, sir, about getting the licenses, right?
Right.
Different angle. You've been hypnotized.
Yeah, but what about the label? Why do you need licenses? Why can't the label themselves just do it?
I think I think, you know, I don't know the economics behind this. I think Arnaldo would be a really good voice on this topic. I think that vinyl is expensive to produce, and I would assume the profit margins aren't great on it, and they don't want to take on the risk of like pressing some of these records that may be, you know, third or fourth tier down in the artist catalog. They're going to put out the top one or two. They're going to focus on some of the bigger artists that need to press. And I just think that's why you don't see it. You don't see them.
I don't know, man.
Massive print. But this is why you have like music on vinyl. Remember when music on vinyl was like the haven for 90s alternative, 2000s alternative hip hop? Like they had all of those licenses for a long time before the resurgence came back. Now it's very few and far between. I think that's why avenues have opened up for acoustic sounds, analog productions, MoFi, because they're able to get the niche production of this limited to 3,045 RPM of this specific title, while the record labels aren't willing to give up their share on that, I guess, on a specific license, but also they're not willing to produce it. So like those niche labels are filling in that void. You know, you can't put out. Do you think that Tiny Music would sell 10,000 copies in a standard reissue?
Well, I think obviously it would. Otherwise, why do we need multiple different pressings, multiple different reissues of it? We had music on vinyl, MoFi, and then the label did it on their own.
Yeah, but how many do you think music on vinyl did? What did they probably do? Like 1,500 color and then 1,500 black. The box set. You think they did 2,000 of that box set? I doubt it. And the MoFi is at what, 3K? So you're under 10K right there with those three different reissues.
Yeah, but you don't. I say skip the music on vinyl, skip the MoFi, just label press 5,000 or press however many you want. But then when you sell out and the distributors no longer have any copies, press it again, make it available again. Do what Discord Records, like every label should just look at Discord, look at what they do, and just do what they do.
What do they do? I don't know them.
They keep their records in print. They print them when they're out. They print them again.
Yeah.
You know, now sometimes they'll do something cool, like a different color cover or a different color record. That's optional. I don't think people care one way or another about that, but just keep the stuff in print, you know, like there's no reason why I can't go to a record store and get the entire Screaming Trees catalog. Why can't I do that? Why do I have to go dig around on Discogs or in some dusty basement somewhere to find that record?
This is why I get discouraged going to record stores, because it's the same shit over and over again, because this stuff isn't in print. I agree with you. Or if it is in print, it's on a fucking wall that you have to ask the guy to get it down for you. And
yeah, and it's like $300.
Yeah.
Why?
I like this question by Vinyl Dreamscape. Is MoFi considered an audiophile label?
That's not MoFi. That's music on vinyl.
Sorry, music on vinyl. I'm sorry. I don't know where the audiophile thing came in with them. I do think some of their pressings are fantastic, and I think that a lot of them sound really good. I have a good amount of music on vinyl, especially like alternative and hip hop stuff. I feel like they got lumped into the audiophile thing because Mike carries it as the In-Groove. Acoustic Sounds has them on their site, and I just think that they carried over. I think some of them are audiophile quality because the record sounds good, like the album originally sounded good. But I don't know if it's like a high-end audiophile pressing, and it's expensive because, like Joel said, it's imported. So
They're expensive because they're a European label. They're out of Holland. I don't think in Europe they're probably as expensive, but here there's one distributor that gets the main license to distribute them here in the U.S. You find them with other distributors too, but that's why they're more expensive in the U.S. Unfortunately.
Record keeper asking the best question here. When is the G.G. Allen catalog going to get the audiophile treatment? We have to ask Jose. He would do it in a heartbeat.
Well, they just have to keep it in print. It doesn't. I know you're just joking around, but
yes.
Hopefully they don't do something stupid like that. I bet you they would. I bet you someone would do that.
Of course, there's money on the table. That's what I'm saying. Vinyl Kicks here. That's who I don't trust. VMP now owned by a suspect company like Vinyl VNY with a questionable past. Vinyl Kicks, we did talk about that during Surface Noise, but we didn't really talk about the past of this previous label. I actually looked it up, and I didn't. Maybe next time we'll talk about Surface Noise, but you are correct. Questionable past for sure. The titles, would you like?
Well, they seem like they're wholesaling dead stock in their previous subscription packages, in my opinion.
Yes.
It's kind of like the Amazon record club. I don't know if anybody subscribes to that. It exists.
I think a lot of these labels, they need to have the long view. They need to stop at the money grabs and just assume you want to keep this around for hundreds of years. And that should be your guiding principle.
I don't think they believe it's really back. I think they're being conservative. I think it's, here's the other thing too. We all have some kind of exposure to corporate America. Like accountants run the show. Like these guys don't give a damn about the music. It's these small indie labels or niche reissue labels that care, and that's why they put the stuff that they want to put out. But what I'm really saying is like, hey, any of the big labels out there, you're watching this, like we're employable. Like come talk to us. Like we will join your board. We will be special advisors to the A&R teams and the marketing teams. Like let us know. Like let's
more
do
G.G. Allen.
Listen, you're probably joking around, but listen, it's all related. Like there's stuff like we could have a whole show talking about South by Southwest. It is all involved with each other. Record labels, A&R, South by Southwest, the way in which they press vinyl, the marketing of vinyl, all of that is all related. And this comment right here about the Allison Chains Unplugged, the fact that record is out of print again,
it's crazy.
Is a criminal. It's like criminal. Someone needs to be in jail for not leaving that in print. Everyone wants that album. I get asked about that album so much, and you cannot find it except for buying it on Discogs for some. Let's go look at the ridiculous amount of money.
When I go through my Discogs collection, like every time I'm like, I should just sell this because it has to come back out eventually. I'm like, I should just get rid of this and just be without it for a couple of years.
I just don't understand. They've done multiple pressings. Like in 2023, there were 3 different pressings. 2024, no, these are bootlegs. Sorry. Yeah, see, they're all getting bootlegged. Ever since 2022, bootleg. 2014, bootleg. 2010, bootleg. What is that? Jason, you held up a record. Sorry, I was delayed.
Answering. Welcome, Andres. This is that Pescado.
Sorry, we're in hardcore ranting about Allison Chains Unplugged, and to mention Nirvana's Unplugged. Why out of print? like there's money to be made, right? So it's antithetical. You say it's all about a money grab and all about marketing. Why are these two records out of print?
Yeah, but I'm not defending them, but I'm saying that money grab is still conservative. Like they're going to go for what they know is going to move, and they're not going to keep on investing in this. I don't think that they want it to survive, especially if, like I said, if you keep like music on vinyl was a great example. And you could see that. I don't know the exact timeline, but when the resurgence really took off, they lost everything. Once in a while, it used to be like you got a music on vinyl email, and like 3 out of the 4 titles, you're like, oh my god, I got to grab these. Now it's like one every 4 months there's something where I'm like, oh, finally, like they're putting it out, you know. So I feel like the presence of the MoFis and things like that have allowed the labels to outsource that production.
Yeah, I actually heard some stuff. I heard some stuff behind the scenes. So music on vinyl also did repress, and they actually have one coming up too, where they're reissuing one of Stabbing Westward's albums. And I heard, I probably shouldn't. No, I probably shouldn't say. So I'll tell you something off air. Sorry, I know it's like so cringy that I just said that. I probably shouldn't say it in a YouTube video. But yeah, so Allison, I just looked. Yeah, someone mentioned in the chat, Music on Vinyl was the one that did the last reissue of Unplugged.
2009.
And why is it that it was so limited? They could have done 10,000 of those. That shit would have sold. Why did they limit it to however many? I mean, 13,000 people claim they have it. So it couldn't have been that limited. Anyway, we can move on. I'm sorry. I get worked up about shit like that.
No, you should get worked up.
What did it last sell for? Like 175, 200?
Yeah, I mean, the cheapest copy right now is $200. That's just
anybody in the chat. If anybody in the chat wants it, I mean, we can make a deal on that 200. We can go a little bit less than that. Damn, I mean.
And here's the thing, though, like who listens to Allison Chain's Unplugged? It's not audiophiles. I mean, I'm not saying audiophiles don't, but it's casual listeners, people that are just casual fans. They're not paying $200 for that record. You know, right. Put it back in print, make it $24.99. Boom, you'll sell a ton of them. You know,
isn't? And that's not. There's original pressings of that before Music on Vinyl did it, right? There's other pressings before Music on Vinyl.
Well, yeah, the label pressed it.
So I wonder what those are going for.
I don't know. And it was on Columbia. It's like, why did they even give Music on Vinyl? There shouldn't be I love Music on Vinyl, by the way. I have no grudges with them, but why do we need Music on Vinyl? Columbia has money. Why don't they reissue it themselves?
I'm probably not thinking of CD.
And Tool Anima, I think there's something else going on with Tool. I don't think the band, I've heard things that the band doesn't want the stuff to come out. But again, why isn't the Tool catalog available? Unless the band doesn't want it, which I think that may be the case.
Why isn't Allison Chain's the tripod available?
Yeah, why hasn't that ever been reissued? It's been so bootlegged. Which I do have a gripe. You want some drama here. I've been meaning to talk. Next time I see Lance, I'm going to bring this up. But Lance at Permanent Records, he posts records for sale on his Instagram. And Lance, if you're watching this, which you're probably not, you're selling the bootleg. You have to know that it's the bootleg, but you're not mentioning that it's the bootleg in your advertisement. I feel like you probably should. I don't want someone to be misled. Anyway, I do have a bone pick about that. They did the same thing. I don't know if it was him or somebody else. Someone else did the same thing with the Page and Plant, or no, the Coverdale Page. That's also a bootleg. I've seen that being sold online without mentioning that it's a bootleg. Anyway, sorry, that was a little tangent.
That's okay. That way we can always go on tangents. Let's come up with a chat here. Tom's saying music should always make you feel something. It's appropriate to get worked up. That is true. Vinyl Kick saying that MoV reissued all the early Stabbing Westward albums.
Yeah, someone mentioned is Stabbing Westward an industrial band? They were kind of like they came in the wake of 9 Inch Nails and all that. They're a great band though.
MoV, is that Sony Music or is it Universal? It's a good question. I do
I
not
think it's
know.
their own thing. I don't.
I just think they get the licenses. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, they're out of Holland. I don't think they're a sub label of anyone. I think they're their own thing.
Vinyl Kick's just saying he wants it on vinyl. John Bandy is answering it's okay if you're in love with vinyl just because, well, vinyl. The Vinyl Kick saying that MOV Allison Chains Unplugged is audiophile quality pressing.
The Rooster. Oh,
It's a great recording too. That's the other thing.
Probably doing the AIC reissue. Oh, look who it is, Mr.
Oh,
Rev.
damn. This guy's electric. It makes my day when I see him post, when the Rev posts something on Instagram, and I lose my mind. It's the best. It's the best.
Welcome,
What's your official title, Rev? We want to let the people know. Maybe Jason, you know it by heart.
I can't say that. That's a tongue twister.
I know, that's why it's so hard for me to quote it properly. But man, the Rev, I mean, he's got boots on the ground on the Hoobastank incident. He's writing reviews on Dom's new record. I mean, he's leveraging his knowledge of artificial intelligence to teach us about the violent femmes. Like, this guy, we should have a whole show on the Rev, period.
We will do that.
The church, yeah. So just for the people, keeping score at home, the Rev's official title is the Church of Elvis and Even More Latter-day Saints. I mean, he's the official leader of that coalition, and goddamn, I might join. Pastor and spiritual advisor of the Church of Elvis and Even More Latter-day Saints. My apologies, Rev.
Frank Sinatra hype stickers. Get out of here. Rev is asking, have you been to Japan or any plans to be there? Brian, probably next year. For me, definitely.
Are you going to the Bad Bunny concert? Is that why you're going to Japan? Or
who's that Japanese guitar player who plays guitar surfboard? Do you know who that is? Tokyo Brian, do you know who that is? That's Tanaka something, right?
I think his name is The Coolest Guy Ever. Is that his name?
If he tours again, I'm going there in a heartbeat. Like, that's just honest. Like, that's
Takanaka.
There's no doubt. You need to see that in person. John Bandy here. They're all different flavors of listeners. Some care more about the sound quality than others. Some just are okay with whatever they can get on vinyl. I don't think anything is wrong with either. Yep, there is nothing wrong. Tokyo Brian saying that's the guy.
Yeah, some care about sound quality, like with Made in Japan getting an OG and not a.
Man, jeez.
I have a bone to pick with the person that said that Stabbing Westward was a Nine Inch Nails clone. They actually aren't. I know it's easy to think that from the outside, but they actually aren't.
Maybe Nine Inch Nails was just really influential.
They are. This was influenced by a lot of great artists, and Nine Inch Nails influenced a bunch of great artists.
Yeah.
He actually, there's a story about him and my band. We'll talk about, I don't think I could talk about that right now.
What happened?
He knows about my band, right? Through another band. It's ridiculous.
Oh, wait, you had a band that was influenced by Nine Inch Nails?
No.
Uh-huh.
We were not. But I mean, he's heard of Psychedelic Horseshit, and then.
Well, you had a band called Psychedelic Horseshit?
Yes,
that's a great name for a band right there. I like that.
You should look it up. I mean, yeah, the records.
You can't get the records because they're out of print. Yeah, exactly. You can't buy the records though because they're out of print.
It's out of print.
Yeah,
what kind of horseshit is that?
That's right. It's more
psychedelic horseshit.
That's right.
Wait, you were on Fat Cat Records?
Yeah, that was after me. After I left.
Okay.
You should take a listen to it. Let me know what you think. Joel, you will never make the DCC gods happy with that attitude, sir. He's talking about made in Japan.
Listen, if you want to gift me a copy of the DCC pressing, that's cool. I'm not going to buy one. But I will listen to it for you. I'll even do it. I don't do streams on my own, but I will start up a stream somehow. Showing myself listening to it.
We are caught up with the comments. Tom saying Nine Inch Nails was influenced by Cyclic Horseshit. Wow. In the multiverse, that could be true, Tom.
Did y'all see that thing that Trent Reznor is doing? That festival that they're going to do in California?
Oh, that actually sounds very cool. Actually, curated by them. Nothing like, I don't know most of the bands, but I think A Singular Vision, right? It's a good one.
So Nine Inch Nails did not rip off Skinny Puppy. I'm sorry to say, they're completely different. Skinny Puppy is one of one. There has never been a band that has even attempted to rip off Skinny Puppy, let alone done it. There are some, yeah. Anyway, Skinny Puppy is a band that you cannot separate their music from their live performance, in my opinion. They're one and the same. If you never went to a Skinny Puppy show, then you don't know Skinny Puppy, just listening to their music.
Sounds like a band I like.
John Banny's talking about Foetus.
Yes, Nine Inch Nails was very much influenced by Foetus and a lot of the bands from that time, from around that era. I mean, Trent Reznor, like if you look at his history, the bands that he was in, he was very much hanging around that scene, looking up to people like Al Jorgensen and whatnot. But
let me go to Boot Trader's comment. I've got a number of MOV copies. I've been told that they're Sony European branch, but I don't know if that's true. I know that Sony Music is listed on a ton of them. I guess we can find that out.
Let me talk to our research department, see if they can get some info. Give me a second.
yeah.
As a Canadian band, Skinny Puppy are 30% less heavy than U.S. bands. That's how they got there. Tom. Damn.
Okay.
No,
you don't know DCC. What? I didn't say I did. I don't have a damn clue what DCC is. I'm just saying I'm not going to buy it if you want to give it to me. Someone wants me to explain Skinny Puppy.
Malaya.
They are like one of the most, so Gore, right? Like extremely unique live band. Skinny Puppy is as well. Yeah, they're just an amazing industrial music band. If you listen to their music is a little weird, and I could understand people listening to their albums and thinking it's too weird and not wanting to listen to them. If I had, right, I mean, you're not going to be able to see them live because they've once again broken up. They kind of went their own separate ways. But I would have suggested go see them live first and then listen to their albums. But if you want to listen to an album, if you want to listen to their craziest album, the band, Too Dark Park. But I would honestly, I don't know. If I were, I would say start at the beginning, get Bites and Remission, and just listen to them. You may or may not be into it. If you're not into it, it's not a big deal. But if you don't listen to any kind of industrial music, if you, they're in the same realm as like Nine Inch Nails, but they're a lot weirder than Nine Inch Nails. Kevin Key, anyway, he's a genius. Sorry, I could talk for hours about Skinny Puppy.
I'm kind of confused on this music on vinyl thing.
Yeah,
they were eventually purchased by the R-Tone Group. I can't find out when. So I don't really see them as like a subsidiary or a DBA as like Sony Music in Europe. I don't know. I'd have to dig a little bit more, but
Yeah, you would think if they were, it would say. So, I mean, Discog. I mean, you can read what Discog says. It's a collaboration between Virtus and Record Industry, and Record Industry had a history with Sony, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a subsidiary.
okay. So after 98, operations of so it was a Dutch vinyl pressing plant established in 1998 after operations of Sony CBS were taken over by some guy's name I can't pronounce. So yeah, I guess there's some roots there. I mean, it might be like Sundays. Sundays has access to that Columbia stuff too, because I think one of the former execs started that label, right? So there's just probably some relationships there.
Yep.
Maybe they had old metal parts. That's another thing. Maybe when they bought the plant, they had metal parts from those, and they just reused them. Don't laugh, Jason. It's a possibility. Don't man.
Why you laugh?
Let me geek out a little. Let me geek out a little bit. You don't trust my
laughing.
reviews. You don't trust my insight.
We drifted off here. Let's bring it back. Let's rein it in. Okay.
All right, we'll rein it in. So, Jason, you can rein it in for us.
I don't want to.
Okay, so the last point was best content creators in the VC.
We can end.
No.
No, we're not there yet.
Yeah, we could do that if you want.
Sorry, I'm trying to help. I'll shut up. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. I'm not gonna, because a lot of the questions we were looking to ask kind of got melded together in this discussion, but I thought it was healthy. That's the way it should be. Yes. I posed, I wasn't looking to name channels per se. We can if we want, but I think I summed this up earlier when I'm looking for content creators that are not being infomercials. That's for a different group of people. That's cool. For me, those content creators, if they're going to have that infomercial and break the news, there's a lot of fun in that. And I support some of those people, but the people I support rope in some kind of history or opinion or insight to the record, to the album, to the artist, the discography, give an opinion. And that's the stuff I try to extrapolate from this content creation. I can tell you right now, besides participating in the Surface Noise episode, I did not watch not one video on the Beatles reissue. Because what is there to be said about it? What is there
from Beatles reissue?
I have marked safe from the Beatles reissue discussion. There is nothing that was unique about this other than it got announced. And maybe some people got the email a day earlier. So that's how I feel about these things.
Piper, the news is that there is no news.
Piper, we read the news today. Oh boy.
Welcome, Daniel. Question: does the group enjoy the direction Dom York is taking? Personally, very impressed with his musical journey.
Yes.
He's still playing. He's still searching. Kudos to him.
On this subject, I don't know if you guys are big Radiohead fans. I consider myself like a Radiohead fan, not a fanatic. I love their music, but I was very pleased with the 3 Smile albums, and that last record he just released I thought was really cool. I think because of that, I think Radiohead's done, and I think that's what's freed him up to make some really good stuff the past couple of years. So I'm happy. I guess that's a long way of me saying I'm happy where he's going.
Tom here answering the question, the best content creators in the VC. I love it when the Creator Club reads Wikipedia and, they describe the record by what's on Wikipedia. Joel, do you have any people who are best content creators? You mentioned Dom earlier, Seeking a Thread.
Dom.
So I don't watch a lot of content creators. There were some content creators I used to watch, and I would only say negative things about them, which I don't want to do right now. So when we're talking about Dom,
No,
I
do it.
like
Do it.
his like lo-fi style that he had of his video, and I like the fact that when he was talking about the records, he seemed to like actually know something about the records, and he was talking about music that I liked. I feel like there's a lot of. It seems this way. I could be wrong. Don't shoot me. It feels like there's a lot of homogenization
Yes.
in the VC where like everyone kind of likes the same stuff or talks about the same stuff, and that to me is boring. I get it. If everyone just happens to like the same stuff, that's fine. But when he did the video, like Chris, you shared with me his dub video. I watched it. He had a video about folk records that I liked. I want you to tell me what you're actually into, the stuff you're passionate about, not just whatever you think is like the flavor of the month, you know? Like I actually got you guys to sit here and talk about Skinny Puppy for like 10, 15 minutes. You never see a video about Skinny Puppy, right? Because they're not audiophile. But I think it's, that's what I want to hear people talk about. Tell me what you actually are into. And that's why I like Dom's videos. I watched them and he also has a really calming voice. And he's positive. I just want people to be positive, which is why I'm trying to be positive. If you have a video where you're saying negative things or you're complaining about things, I'm going to be less into it. And I just feel like we need, just some variety a little bit. You know what I mean?
That's great feedback, and I think you brought up an interesting show topic potentially, like talk about a band that no one really talks about in the VC.
Yeah, because it's funny. It's funny that people because people also talk bad about the same stuff, right? People say they like the same stuff. People talk bad about the same stuff, and I'm guilty of it too sometimes. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's what I love about this stream, right? Because you brought up Skinny Puppy, and I think like Vinyl and Kicks 86, or maybe it was Vinyl Dreamscape, like they had so much to say about that band that I've never heard of. And I think that's what I love about what we do on Monday nights here, because I know everybody in the damn chat is a music head. All types of music. Like it's very rare we bring something up and somebody doesn't have like a definitive opinion on it, or it doesn't have some kind of like tie to that music, and it creates some kind of conversation. And somebody brought up stunty streams in the chat. Dude, I've been watching those the past couple of Fridays, and like I'm not gonna lie, like Vinyl Dreamscape like really like sent me a message. He was like, Chris, you really need to just check it out. And it's kind of the same thing I run into with Dom too. It's like I thought I knew like a lot about music, and then when I hear these guys talk about stuff or introduce stuff to me, I'm like, I don't know a damn thing about music. Like, and it's kind of like that's what I'm looking for. I don't, the Cars album is going to get reissued. Like, I know more about the Cars than people have forgotten. I mean, I forgot more about the Cars than people know, I should say. Yeah. And it's like, I don't know. I'm looking for like a discovery pipeline of like, all right, what can you turn me on to that I don't know about, or I thought I knew about, but I don't know enough about. So
that's what's wild, right? I always say like, there's so much music and so little time. The reality is the homogenization is such an unfortunate thing, because I know that you both know about music that I don't know about, and vice versa. And we should be exploring that. Let's explore like what we don't know, because there's so much discovery to be had out there, Well,
Joel, also you have a similar background to me. Like you worked in a music store, you have a music store. Like that's a whole different expectation you have of people when you talk about music, right? Like part of the benefits of that, besides the economics, is like I get to be around people that can teach me about music all day, customers, co-workers, vendors, whatever the case may be. So
yeah,
I think we have different expectations. I mean,
that's my favorite thing.
We spent 2 hours last week after the stream listening to dub records and like rare psych folk records, like what is this? Like all we did was, it could have been a whole show in itself. So
put Andre's comment right there, like a couple of last things that came up.
This one,
the one about model actrice. I don't know how to pronounce it, but Oh yeah. So that is a great band. They're really fun live. They just released a new album. Great album. They're coming to Psych, or I think they're playing Levitation here in town in Austin. They're a great band. I do know them.
Wow, we're almost 2 hours here. Let's go through
When
the comments.
the other day I sold these actually it was funny. I sold a bunch of Nine Inch Nails records to a friend of mine, and I went over to his house and he was playing this album. The group's name was Antarctica. I mentioned it before. The album name is 8103. I don't have it yet, but I ordered a copy. And this is the band. It's like shoegaze. The music is a little the whole album doesn't all sound the same, right? Some of it's a little shoegazy, some of it sounds a little bit like Underworld, like a little electronic. Anyway, great album. Had no idea who this band was. And I was able to discover something new. Then after I left his house, I went down to this event downtown where some DJs were playing a bunch of shoegaze and post-punk, and a friend gave me these records here. I'll show them real quick. Maybe you guys know them. This one's group's name is Grails. By the way, I need to get a better camera. This camera sucks that I'm using right now. Anyway, Grails. This one, something called Rose City Band. This group here, Phil Manzanera. And then this one here, Motric, Safety Copy. Anyway, I have no idea who any of these guys are, any of these groups are. And my friend gave these to me. This one mentions krautrock. Anyway, I get to discover 4 new albums that I've never heard before. That to me is what all of this is about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like we joke a lot about like Beatles box sets and stuff like that. Everybody knows the Beatles. There's no discovering the Beatles. I'm not really me personally, I'm not interested in talking about the Beatles, right? Even though they're great. I want to talk about something new. Tell me about something you've never, like off stream, you mentioned, you mentioned, who was it? I had it a second ago up on my screen.
Jim Sullivan.
No, Bill Fay. You shared that Bill Fay record.
Yes, that record.
It got
Yeah,
heavy.
that's a great record. Like I listened to it afterwards. I love that record. It's a great record. Something that I didn't know. I don't know. To me, that's what all this is about. It's about music discovery, and that's why when we talk about who do we trust, I trust the people in the community that have shown to have good taste in music and can share more music.
And to kind of bring this back to what we think is homogenized about the community, this audiophile thing, which I actively participate in, I'm more apt to listen to their opinion as an audiophile if they have great taste in music and a unique perspective on music as well. So it kind of goes hand in hand.
See, people in the chat know these groups that I show. They're commenting on it. Yeah, so she did. My friend did mention that Phil was a member of Roxy Music.
Yes,
dude. The chat that comes to these streams on Mondays it's remarkable how many times I go back or I'm taking notes or screenshots of what they're talking about, and it's like on an iPhone note for me to go discover and listen to. It's remarkable the amount of knowledge that's brought to our show. I feel insignificant at times where I'm like, damn, I don't know this band, or damn, I didn't have that perspective. Like it's really worthwhile. And that's why they think these discussions are so fruitful. Like we start off talking about who we trust, and then we go on a 15-minute history lesson on Skinny Puppy, right? And we bring up all these other records that you're talking about. It's just fantastic. I mean, we even debate like what's the best sounding, version of Made in the USA. Like who does that? I don't think many people do. That was a joke.
I'm sorry. I'm reading the chat here. Yeah, the people mentioning Revolting Cocks, they keep censoring it for some reason. You might also like Pigface. That was another super group with a bunch of different people in it. And my favorite Owl project was Palehead with Ian McKay of Fugazi.
I like Bill K's comment because I like lists a lot, but I don't. To Bill K's point, like I don't like the generic list. I like to come up with some creative themes to kind of go through, and that's always fun too. That's where you get into some of these obscure things or differing opinions. So taking notes, passing notes. Mark's killing me tonight. You know, Mark is not Team Groove Seeker tonight. That's okay. I'm still Team Mark Boyd.
You should get the mask out, Jason.
No, that's put away. No.
So, Jason, who do you trust, man? This was a great topic that you introduced. I was psyched when you brought it up. I think it trumps some of the other topics that we were going to potentially talk about. So, like, what's your take on this? Like, who do you trust, and who do you appreciate? So, what opinions do you appreciate? Whose opinion do you appreciate?
You know, at the end of the day, what Joel said is correct. You know, you trust the community. That's what I've learned today, to be honest, right? I don't really trust Discogs. I don't trust Hoffman's, you know, audiophiles and Hoffman. It's interesting, you know, and John Bandia, as you know, when they post my video for the Doors, the Rhino Hi-Fi shootout, I got like attacked. You know, it was crazy. It's just hard to believe, you know, to be easily dismissed by those audiophiles, which is funny. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's the community. I agree with Joel. And I do trust myself, you know. I have to listen to the record. Oh man, Wolfman's like, put away the mask. It's put away.
I don't know about the person talking bad about metal music, though.
Who's that?
There is actually a lot of different types of metal music and a lot of different bands. It's like a whole undiscovered world right there.
What about you, Groove Seeker? Who do we trust?
I don't trust the reviews on Discogs because I just find them to be worthless. You know, this album sounds great. All right. I'm the same as you on the Hoffman forums. Like I do go down a rabbit hole and like nerd out, but I don't take it as gospel. I trust my friends. I've gotten to know you guys, and I trust the recommendations. I trust the insights. You guys have reminded me about bands that I used to love that I forgot about. So that's what I'm looking for. To some of Joel's comments, I'm down with Dom's channel. I think he's been a great resource. I'm enjoying stunty stuff, just out of the box stuff that I wouldn't normally get exposed to. When I want an infomercial, I watch Mike every Thursday morning, so I know what came out. Like, I trust him for new releases, you know, like, I like when he shows glimmer of fandom, outside of like the audiophile view on music. You know, so I just try to get even content creators. I don't necessarily enjoy the majority of their videos. I try to get some kind of piece of information out of them. So I got to piece it together. Just like finding new music, like it's not on the radio like it used to be. You gotta dig a little bit for it. So.
And to Joel, who do you trust, Joel?
I trust myself. And I trust people that talk about good music in chat, like talking about Tear Garden and Palehead. Yeah, I just love music, man. I just want to talk about music, man. I'm so jealous when I see like DJs or streamers that can like do streams and then chat with people in the chat about music and it's really engaging. I want that. Like if I could just somehow instantly have that, like just do a stream and have thousands of people wanting to talk about music in the chat, I'd be all about that. Hey, that's all I want to do. I just want to talk about music.
We don't have thousands, but I think in this it's quality versus quantity. There's some
so I don't mean, you know what I mean. It doesn't have to be thousands.
You know,
I love this. I just want to. You guys are going to want to end the stream, and I just want to sit here and keep talking for the people in the chat.
I will say I am having a hard time trusting John Bong. He's a little volatile, so I need to work on that. I also trust independent radio. I'm blessed in New York. I have FUV, Fordham Station. Obviously, you can stream a lot of stuff. I trust the great Bob Chemenko from WPKN. which I've turned Jason on to as a fun listen, you know.
Shout
So
out to Bob.
Shout out to Bob, man. Open forehead format radio, as he calls it. So there's like, I trust those like OGs of rock and roll, basically, like giving me the gems. I trust Rojas, you know.
I'm okay.
You're all right. Once in a while, you come up with something good.
We'll leave it. The last two comments here for Daniel here. I best developed trust on the VC by observing. Went to Den Bosch. Truly cemented some great relationships. Tokyo. Brian, by the way, the feeling is mutual. Elliot Cruz here. We should all try to broaden our horizons musically, but it can be difficult because we have a comfort zone, and that is hard to venture from. That is totally true. And we'll end it with this one.
No, let's don't end it.
You don't want to end it? Come on. We've been here 2 hours, Joel.
You know damn well we're going to sit offline and talk for another hour and a half. Why not just keep going?
No. This is good. This is good. We'll end it with John Bandy's comment there. Again, I want to thank Groove Seeker, Joel, for joining the panel tonight on this discussion. Who can you trust? And Joel, right? Thanks to the chat for joining us for 2 hours of this, and we will see you next time. Yes, Johnny Fever.
Thanks, everybody.
We'll see you next time, everybody. Peace. Thanks, you guys.